Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to Beyond Dope. I'm running a little bit behind this week, so it is actually Friday morning, Saturday night that I'm making this episode. I got everything kind of written down, got my notes together. I started a new job this past Monday, and it has me a little just behind on things. So let's jump into it with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, thought for the day. I have learned to live one day at a time. I have finally realized the great fact that all I have is now. This sweeps away all vain regret, and it makes my thoughts of the future free of fear. Now is mine. I can do what I want with it. I own it, for better or worse. What I do now in this present moment is what makes up my life. My whole life is only a succession of nows. I will take this moment, which has been given to me by the grace of God, and I will do something with it. What I do with each now will make or break me. Am I living in the now? Meditation for the day. We should work at overcoming our selfish desires, our self-centeredness, and ourselves. This can never be fully accomplished. We can never become entirely unselfish, but we can come to realize that we are not at the center of the universe and that everything does not revolve around us at the center. I am only one cell in a vast network of human cells. I can at least make the effort to conquer the self-life and seek daily to obtain more and more of this self-conquest. He that overcomes himself is greater than he who conquers a city. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may strive to overcome my selfishness. I pray that I may achieve the right perspective of my position in the world. Okay, so I have a couple things written down for the thought of the day. Living in the now. This reading really helped me, get over some things in the past, kind of separate between, the addicted version of me and the sober version of me. I looked at it like I could start again. And I never really thought like that, before I started, doing these AA readings and really, really buying into the AA, just the group, the fellowship, and all of that. So for me, that helped me tremendously. I know we've had talks in the past where, maybe it's not for everybody, the whole AA thing. And like I said, some people can be judgmental and, when was the last meeting you were at? When did you go last? But I still think it's great for the structure. I mean, every time I was trying to get sober, it provided me the structure that I needed to get there. It was up to me to take the next steps with it. And, but there's a million and one ways to get sober. You guys, we talk about that all the time. But for me, what I wrote down for this reading is, what I did now matters. What I do now matters. Focus in the now. You can't go back and fix the things you did, but you can try to kind of, I don't want to say atone for them, but that's kind of, what we're doing, and learn from it, learn from what you did wrong and don't make the same mistakes. What I wrote down for the meditation of the day, the whole overcoming selfishness thing, it's not, it's you're never going to truly overcome it, like it says, but I think it's just realizing when you're being selfish, and, we talked about that, I think, like episode 1 or 2, like, we all talk shit, and have you ever been talking behind someone's back and then realized, actually stopped in your tracks. Like, you know what? That's not really fair for me to say. I'm kind of being, a judgmental dick right now. And I think we could all, should be doing that a little more than we do, because you got to walk a mile in somebody's shoes. But it's like a human condition, we're always going to talk a little shit. We're always going to be a little selfish. But are you realizing when you're doing that? And the trick, I think, is to just realize more and more those little negative, habits that you have, and work on them. Then you work on yourself and you become a better person. Okay, so today's this week's the email, we got a couple. I actually got a few requests from people wanting to be on the show, which I thought was really cool. So we're gonna set those up. What I'm probably gonna do, I kind of gamed it out to do it's looking like 11 or 12 episodes on my story. And then after that, I'm not sure if we're going to do like a season 2 or maybe bonus episodes, telling some other stories of some other people that had reached out to me. So, if you guys have an interesting story, just want to come on here and talk about a topic, reach out to me, and I'm sure we can work something out to get you on. I got a couple people coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. But the just the optimism, the energy surrounding this whole thing has been great. The emails have been fantastic. Social media, just everything has been really, 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 really cool. And if you want to reach out, please do. BeyondDopePodcast@gmail.com, or reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. But the email is from Tammy in Snellville, Georgia. What was the single most important thing that kept you sober the first 60 days? So that's a hard question to answer, because I think for everybody it changes, but I brought it up to my circle of trust, if you want to call them that. For me, I think for most people, it's it's going to be jail, right? It's going to be jail or some rehab facility. But we tried to look past that answer and get a little more in depth. Meetings, 60 meetings, 60 days, an IOP group. But more than that, structure. Structure is so important. Set alarms. My friend Anthony, he has an alarm on his phone. He's got like 30 different alarms on his phone just to keep his days structured, where he has breakfast at this time, and it's every day. He has breakfast at this time. He goes to a meeting at this time. He has lunch at this time. He works out at this time. He takes these 2 hours for journaling. He does yoga. I mean, just keep yourself busy. And I've always found that to be extremely helpful, because when we have time to sit around and think, especially early on, we're going to be thinking about that, and we're going to be thinking we could just do it once, or, you guys know. So that's kind of the answer I got for you. But it's not going to be the same for everybody, but just keep your day structured. Okay, so last time we ended talking about, Amber and I got into stealing from stores and returning the items to other stores for gift cards. And this whole thing has brought up a lot of different feelings for me. It's really weird because I'm so far, it feels like I'm so far removed from the whole thing that I'm talking about somebody else, but it's brought up a lot of weird feelings for me, and it's been strange sometimes. Not often, but you can very easily get depressed or ashamed thinking about some of your old habits, some of your old choices, and there have definitely been days where I was dreading some episodes that are coming up. But you know what? We're going to get through them. And yeah, we're going to get through them together. Okay, so we had been, we both wanted to get sober. I think it's important to know that. We both wanted to get sober really bad. I mean, you come up with all these plans when you're trying to get sober, and none of them work. I mean, if you think you have a plan on getting sober and you're listening to this now, just stop, send me an email, and we will find you a detox or some kind of a rehab, tonight or tomorrow. We'll figure it out. Just send me an email. Because the plan that you have, I promise it's not going to work. It's just not going to work, and you need help. But we had been snorting dope for a long time. We had snorted OxyContins, we had snorted heroin. We were always snorting our drugs. And we were spending like $400 a day, coming up with enough, stealing enough stuff and returning it to get enough to snort it and not feel sick. So our habit was just growing exponentially over time. A dealer I considered him a friend at the time, and there was a couple times when I was sober and he was sober, and I still considered him a friend. So, but he was a dealer, and he kind of we wanted to try shooting it, and he was happy to show us how. So that was when things got really bad. And I have to back up for a minute, because about 3 months before this, Amber had gotten pregnant for a second time. And we were at wit's end. You have these happy-go-lucky moments in addiction where you think, you know what, this is going to help me. And that's what we convinced ourselves. We convinced ourselves that this pregnancy is going to help us. We're going to get sober, because we're not the type of people that, continue to do drugs when we're in this situation, when we're pregnant. We're not those people, and we could never be those people. And you believe it because, we all want to believe that we're the best versions of ourselves, right? But the truth is, in addiction, that's just your addiction talking. Your addiction's trying to convince you that, it's going to be okay eventually. It doesn't have to be okay today. Just keep using. Use one more time. Use one more time, and we'll deal with the troubles tomorrow, says the addiction. It was an extremely hard time. When we started shooting dope, there was a huge contrast to, Johnny who snorted drugs versus Johnny who shot them. Same with Amber. I could keep it together more when I was snorting the drugs. I didn't look like, well, I'm sure I still did, but I looked a lot more like a drug addict once I started shooting the drugs. I had track marks on my arm. I always had to wear long sleeves. I was falling asleep everywhere, standing up multiple times. Amber had to throw me in a shower and turn the cold water on. I want to say within about 6 months, not even, within 3 months, 2, 3 months of shooting it, I had OD'd and been Narcaned at least 3 times. Once in the hospital, actually, which is a really scary thing. You wake up and you're just connected to all these monitors and you don't even know why, and the only thing you're thinking about is getting out of there and getting high again. That's the craziest part about it all. So shooting it was a downward spiral, and I think I always knew that it was gonna be, and I think that's why it was like a defense mechanism to stay away for so long. But looking back on it, I almost wish that I started shooting it immediately when I started using, because I think that I would have hit rock bottom much, much faster. We were in absolute survival mode. I mean, Amber was pregnant. My addicted mind, her addicted mind, we didn't know what to do. I mean, you're trying to take care of your wife who you love. You're trying to take care of your son who you love. And you're trying to navigate all these extremely complex problems. So a few months go by, like this. We're barely getting by, and we go to buy a $30 bag of heroin from this guy on 153rd and Kinsman. And the thought at the time, for months, the thought has been either, Amber either does Suboxone or a very small amount of heroin, and kind of weans herself off. And, this was a terrible, stupid, ridiculous thought, but that was the plan. And so we're on 153rd Street and Kinsman, and we make the buy, and we go to pull away. And this Malibu, just Grand Theft Auto, pulls up, cuts me off, and I throw it in reverse, because I don't know who the fuck this guy is, so I throw it in reverse, and I'm peel tires up a curb, and, spin the wheel. Well, an SUV cuts me off from behind. About 6 different cops get out, guns drawn, put your hands in the air, this, that, and the other. And so we both, got out of the car. Obviously, they immediately cuffed Amber. They immediately cuffed me, took me to the side, and Amber's sitting on the curb, crying her eyes out, big and pregnant. And I wait there for about 20 minutes until this detective pulls up, and he looks me in the eye, and he said, and then he looks at my car, and my car still had the writing on it from the impound, because my car had been impounded previously. Because, I forgot to mention that instead of getting stickers, like normal people do, I didn't do that. What I did, because my license was suspended, was take a sticker off somebody else's car, and put it on mine. So at a glance, it looked legal. But what the fuck was the point of doing that when a cop drives by you, and it just pops up on his scanner? Again, the addicted mind, okay? So my car was just in the impound, and I had just gotten it out maybe like a week ago. And this detective says to me, he's like, okay, so either she is going downtown and having this baby in the county jail, or you are coming downtown with us, giving us information on a couple of good busts, and she can drive home right now. So of course I picked, let's go. Take, sign me up. I'll be your narc. I got no problems. As long as Amber doesn't go to jail, I'm game. Let's do this. So Amber leaves. I tell her, hey, I'm gonna go with the cops. I'll figure it out, and I'll call you. So I went with the cops, and I started talking to two detectives, and I gave them a bunch of information. They wanted to make a bust from somebody that I had been buying through for a pretty long time. And I told them, absolutely, man, let's go. We can make this happen. And they wanted any other information that I had as well. So I was there for about an hour, signed my paperwork, saved the cop in my phone as Chloe, true story, and signed up for my narcotic name, like what they would mention me as in paperwork was Oswald. No idea why I picked that, but I did. Again, the addicted brain. But the questions that they ask you when you're in there are pretty crazy. And this is not a knock on the police department, but they could have helped me a lot more, but it was more in their interest. And how many times has something like this happened where they had us dead to rights with $30 worth of heroin? They could have arrested us right there, and put us in front of a judge right there, and that judge could have made us go to rehab right there. Instead, they decided to keep me on the streets, and do their bidding, and let me play Russian roulette with my life a few more times. So I get out of this, snitch meeting, and I walk over to Amber's sister's work. Amber's sister used to work in the Rockefeller building, so I knew Amber would be able to find it pretty easy. This is downtown Cleveland, Ohio. And I called Amber and I said, hey, come get me. I'm down by your sister's work. So Amber comes and gets me. And we're driving home to Garfield Heights, and we get there and we go upstairs. And this was kind of when shit got really crazy, and I would always remember what happened that day. You're listening to Beyond Dope. New episodes available every Friday. For questions or comments, reach out to us at beyonddopepodcast@gmail.com. So if you guessed this would be the day that Amber went into birth, you were correct. Of course it would, right? This whole day was absolutely fucking insane. It pinpointed everything that was wrong with my life, and Amber started having back pains, and she said we have to go. So after the day we had, we hopped in a car and we drove to Hillcrest Hospital. And this was also the day where my life would change for a very long time. my daughter was born, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby girl. And the world that she was brought into because of things that me and Amber had done was extraordinarily painful to deal with. And the actions that we took during that first 24, 48 hour period were just absolutely fucking despicable. And yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult to talk about some of it, but we're gonna get through it. That is all the time I got for you guys. Please leave us a review. Reach out to us. BeyondDopePodcast@gmail.com. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, guys. I know it's hard. Just one day at a time.